This is Jonathan from Pipe Locating and Televising Service, and I'm conducting a video inspection of the grease line sewer for the 6025 West 64th Place units. We are going from the grease trap on the west side of the building, going back underneath, and the camera is at the point where it turns, well, it reduces to go to the number 2 unit on the first floor, ground floor, and it also picks up the units directly above it. So this is running parallel with the stairs, and then we're going to come around a turn here. Now the footage is not going to be 100% accurate. I don't think we zeroed it out. This is 4-inch cast iron that we're in right here. We're not seeing anything wrong with the pipe, although when we first started there was a lot of grease buildup in there. Now it just increased to 6-inch pipe, and to the left, right somewhere right around here, oh, it's hard to see, it's about the left center of the screen. That's the inlet for unit 3. We had that water running earlier, and there was no grease buildup in the 6-inch. The grease buildup was in the 4-inch pipe. Alright, we've just come into the clay pipe now. Up ahead was cast iron, and now we're in clay. This is the chunks of grease that we chopped loose, and the water flushed it out this far. Okay, now we're going to get into, oh, there's a little bit of a hole there. I don't know if that's bad enough to make it worth digging up the floor over. This would actually be right in front of the closet, the coat closet in Unit 1. So the closet between the front door and the bathroom, I believe it's right in front of that. Alright, keep coming out. Now the one thing that does bother me though, let's see. Okay, there we just went underwater. Boy, that kind of looked like it might have been a hole too. That does bother me a bit. So it could be that there's a hole at the bottom of the pipe. I was going to say I'm not real worried about it because it's not in the area of where any of the settling has taken place. The concrete is settled, and we wanted to see if the pipes had settled or moved, and it doesn't really look like they have in the area of the cast iron, but they did move towards the back of the building, and that's why it had to be dug up and repaired by the catch basin. When they did that, you know, let's pull it out and reset the footage and everything. I'm going to pause here. Okay, we're just into the pipe from the catch basin. And basically there's a high spot here, perhaps where the repair was made. And then it dips down. So the clay pipe has moved a little bit as it goes underneath Units 3 bathroom. And then it did appear that maybe there was a hole in the bottom of the pipe. Rather than digging up the floor though, the belly doesn't concern me much because we didn't have any much of any grease buildup in here. So lining the sewer, if you wanted to fix those holes, lining the sewer would be the better way to do it. That's where they essentially put a sleeve inside of the pipe, and it's like a coating over the inside of the pipe, and then they just cut the access points back into it. The camera keeps getting greasy as we go through there, so it's not a perfectly clear picture. We're back to the cast iron again. This is the 4-inch. Here's the turn. And then we're going to dead end here where it reduces. It starts to roll up, and then it reduces to 2-inch. Go on that again. Yeah, I can't say that that's a problem of any kind. So the settling is taking place closer to the foyer, and the settling is also like on the side of where the pipe would be, but directly under the pipe, that concrete is held pretty solid. Now that might be coincidence. Okay, there was the one hole. Look at that again. Yeah, I don't know why that hole is there. I don't know what caused that. The water is going to soak into the ground or leak into the ground. Then right there it dips like, we're just dropping out of the pipe. Yeah, I do. There almost has to be a hole there. And that was the one that we noticed in front of the closet. Then we didn't see the other one, the little one. So now we're we're underwater. This is where the belly is. So from the closet, coming underneath the bathroom, and that's right, pretty much right, probably at the foundation. Yeah. So the pipes probably have settled a little bit there in the area of the foundation. Although that's been repaired before, so maybe they just didn't get the pitch quite right. It's kind of hard to say. What I was saying about the settling is I've walked around other parts of the building, and it looks like the settling is taking place more in the overdig of the foundation. So when they dig a foundation, they have to dig a wide trench to be able to get in there and work and put the forms and everything. And then they just, after they put the foundation in, they push the dirt back, and they oftentimes don't compact that dirt, and over time it settles. And that settlement seems to be taking place in the overdig more so than anywhere else. Everything I've seen that's settled is pretty close to the outside foundation. So where the kitchen lines, or the grease line, however you want to call it, the kitchen sewer, inside of the foundation, that's where settlement would have taken place, and that's probably why the sewer holds water there. If you're concerned with that, I think lining it, I don't know that I would break up the floor to replace it all, but if you were concerned with it and wanted to stop the water from leaking out of the pipe, probably a liner would be the best thing. Okay, I think that's all we're going to look at on the inlet side of the grease trap. We'll run the camera downstream just to check that real quick. Okay, we pushed it out through the outlet of the catch basin, and that drops down into the sewer, which is running on the side of the building, pretty much right underneath the water line. The picture was pretty clear until we pushed through some grease deposits, just greasy water. Yeah, you can see it glaze over. The pipe isn't perfect. It has some cracks in it. the ground has moved a little bit and it caused some cracking within the pipe. We're going to see some areas as we come through the parkway that that it has some cracks, and right now we're in a little bit of a belly. All this stuff is kind of typical of clay pipe and Chicago sewers. Uh, a belly that's probably been there for years, so I don't get real concerned with those. Not unless it's causing a backup problem, and it doesn't appear that it is. Right around through here, we're going to see some cracks. This actually looks like an inlet, like a 4-inch inlet, but this is right at the edge of the sidewalk to the parkway, so I don't know what that is from. I wouldn't think it's a clean out, no. Not that far out. Overall, the sewer is in pretty fair condition. You know, it's like I said, it's not perfect, but there's not anything here I would dig up. There's enough water ran within the building that it keeps everything flushed out of those bellies. Right there on the top right corner, I think that's the inlet from the downspout here on the back of the building. And we're just getting ready to come up around the turn where it tees in. So this is looking kind of straight down on the sewer. The back of that T comes from the other units. And now we're just about back to the catch basin. Yep, we're in our standpipe now. Alright, so there's nothing there that I would suggest needs to be dug up.